So, stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Okay, roll call.
Treasurer Lynch?
Here.
We're going to wait till we actually. President Perrin?
Here.
Vice President Schlicker?
Here.
Secretary Turek here. Director Weinar?
Here.
Commissioner Liaison Brumman?
Here.
And the member at large, Superintendent O'Connor, is absent.
Okay. Anyone making a motion to approve the agenda?
I make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. For the approval of last month's minutes, if I can get to them. A little bit extensive. Okay, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll
Second.
Okay. Motion and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we'll go to officers' reports. Okay, puts me in front, all right.
Point of- Did we do both minutes? There was two sets of minutes. Just to double check that we did. We did the,
Oh, okay.
was the motion to approve both,
Yeah, okay.
or was just you approved one?
Why don't we just do motion to approve both? Do I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I'll
Right.
second.
Okay. And this is for January 24th and January 26th, the special meeting. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, we have a few items to take care of here. Because of circumstances, we had to do a few executive board meetings and get some, you'll see here, several of them that we had to sign. Most of you are familiar with, but we will read them off. Okay, I have February the 5th, 2023. Pursuant to the bylaws, Article 3, Section 2B, if a board member vacancy occurs before the expiration of his or her term, the board may appoint a person by majority action to serve the remainder of the term. In Article 7, Section 8, the executive committee shall consist of the 4 elected officers and shall be empowered to act on behalf of the board in matters which require an immediate decision. Therefore, the board has decided to hire Susan Cray on an interim basis to assume executive director duties. Independent contract specifications included in a separate document. So,
I would make a motion, I would move that the board ratify the unanimous decision of the executive board that occurred on February 5th to hire Susan Cray on an interim basis to assume the executive director duties.
okay, we have a motion, we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next one, pursuant to the bylaws, Article 3, Section 2B, same thing, if a board member vacancy occurs before the expiration of his or her term, the board may appoint a person by majority action to serve the remainder of the term. In Article 7, Section 8, the executive committee shall consist of the 4 elected officers and shall be empowered to act on behalf of the board in matters which require an immediate decision. Therefore, the board has decided to appoint Phil Potter as a board member effective immediately following the completion of the background check and confidentiality agreement, which has been done. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, first and second.
Just to be clear, the motion is to have the board ratify the unanimous decision of the executive board that occurred on February 5th to appoint Phil Potter to a vacancy in the board.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, each one of these that I'm going to read is for ratification. So, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So we welcome Phil Potter as our
Thank you.
newest director. Thank you. Just a brief explanation of why we did that. As we all know, there were only five board members. We thought that if somebody should be sick or for some reason couldn't make it, we would never have a quorum. So we decided to go ahead and appoint one board member. So we now have 6. We are in the process, we've been advertising for board members. We are going to have a special election for the remaining 3 board members. And but we thought that at this time we needed to appoint one so we could have a quorum in case somebody was absent. So that's
I'll add to that his term will expire later on this year, and he'll be up for re-election. But when I went over the last 3 years of meetings, or actually the last 37 meetings, 29 of them had an absence. So 78% of our meetings had at least one absence. So if that had happened this time, we wouldn't have been able to hold a meeting at all or have a quorum. So.
Okay, next one. This is February the 12th. I'm not going to read the executive committee part, but what this was is therefore the ACCOA Executive Board has contracted as of 26 January 2023 to retain the services of Alexander Stratilitov, hope I pronounced it right, of Lansing Legal Group as ACCOA's general counsel at the agreed upon rate of $250 an hour. This action will be presented to the board for ratification at its February 28, 2023 meeting. So,
I'll make a motion to hire this person with all the wording that Dr. Turek has already said.
Ratify the executive
Ratify,
board
yeah.
decision.
yeah. Okay, we got a second on that.
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, some carries. Next one, February 12th. Okay, therefore the ACCOA Board, Executive Board has decided as of February 12th to terminate the employment of Mr. Lenny Avery effective immediately. The Executive Board has made arrangements for Mr. Avery to receive all of his due unpaid leave, personal property left at ACCOA offices, and earned wages. Additionally, the ACCOA shall provide wages at his latest rate through the end of February 2023. This action will be presented to the board for ratification at its February 28, 2023 meeting. Is there a motion?
I would make a motion that the board ratify the unanimous decision of the executive board that occurred on February 12th to terminate the employment of the former executive director, Mr. Leonard Avery. Effective immediately, I'll read it just for completion. The executive board has made arrangements, blah, blah, blah. So I would make the motion that we ratify that decision.
Okay. Did I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Next one dated February the 12th. The ACCO Executive Board has decided as of February 15th to revise the job description of the Executive Director in preparation for interviewing of prospective applicants. A motion?
I'll make a motion to
Okay.
I'll second.
do the
Okay.
job description thing.
Okay. So we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, next one, February 13th. Therefore, Executive Board has authorized the changing of authorized personnel on all financial accounts in order to allow access and smooth financial functioning. The Board also allowed funds to be moved from investments into the operating reserve fund to ensure a smooth financial functioning. Is that your motion?
I'll make that motion that we ratify the
Okay.
changes.
We have a motion, a second? Okay, have that first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. February 13th. Therefore, the ACCOA Executive Board has decided as of February 13th, 2023, to approve the ACCOA 2022-2023 fiscal year budget. That involves money. Do we need a roll call vote on that? Okay. Secretary, can we do a roll call?
I'll make a motion
Oh,
first.
yeah. Let me do that first. Okay.
That we authorize the executive director, to approve the budget for the fiscal year budget.
Okay. Is there a second? Second. Okay.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Treasurer Lynch,
Yes.
Director Potter,
Yes.
Vice President Schlicker,
Yes.
Secretary Turek, I vote yes. Director Weinar,
Yes.
and let's do President Parent also.
Yes. Okay, so motion is passed. Okay, next one, February 15th. February 15th, okay. Therefore, the ACCOA Executive Board has authorized Susan Cray to terminate the employment of Caitlin LaFord effective immediately. This action will be presented to the board for ratification at its February 28th, 2023 meeting. Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to terminate, give Susan to terminate the employment of Caitlin Lifford.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, that concludes mine, and so, excuse me, I'll get back to the proper page here. Okay, Vice President's report.
As most of you can see, we have cleaned out this up here a little bit, moved some chairs and furniture and stuff around. Now you can walk all the way around the outside. If you do that 22 times, you've walked 1 mile. And we've also done some work downstairs, moving some furniture and moving some tables around. And we are planning a meal, an evening meal, to meet the candidates. We haven't decided for sure when that's going to be, but hopefully not too long. And we really, really are trying to get people to come back into the senior center to eat. And I'm thinking it's either going to be between 4 and 5. I'm not sure of the time yet. We are still working with the kitchen because they have to change their hours, and we got to work with them with the home delivered meals so that they can still get the home delivered meals out on time. And so we're trying to reorganize downstairs, open it up a little bit, make it look nice, and maybe put some flowers on the tables, whatever. And so any of you that could come and join us, you know, come a little bit early, talk about your grandkids, talk about the weather, solve the world's problems, whatever. And come and join us and try to get everybody out of their houses again, coming back here to eat. That's our main goal. So, and any suggestions you might have that would help us out, you know, we'd be happy to listen to them and see what we can do working together. So, thank you.
That concludes your report.
Motion regarding the food purchase.
Oh, we could do that. Being as we're working with the kitchen, we also have to have the kitchen be able to order more food and more often. Right now, it was at once a month. So therefore, we couldn't order lettuce and coleslaw and fresh fruit, that sort of thing. So we did tell the kitchen that they can order once a week now. So I would make the motion that, to ratify that, is that how I say it? Anyway, for the kitchen to order food once a week and get some more fresh stuff on the menu. So I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay. Anything else on your report?
No, that's all I've got.
Okay, next we'll go to the treasurer's report.
Okay, the treasurer's report, it's just balances that we have at the banks now. We got get with the bookkeeper and go over a few things for next month and that. But Edward Jones Operating Fund, $110,766. Edward Jones Unrestricted Funds, $589,559. Huron Community Bank, Food Bank of Lincoln, $40,221.04. Huron Community Bank, 111B and 111C, $138,408.61. The total $878,954.65. Edward Jones Building Fund, $6,300,876. That concludes the report as what I have right now.
Make a motion to accept the report.
I'll make that motion, to accept the treasurer's report, subject to audit.
I'll second.
Okay. Once again, that involves money, so we need a roll call.
Treasurer Lynch?
Yes.
Director Potter?
Yes.
Vice President Schlicker?
Yes.
Secretary Turek, yes. Director Weiner?
Yes.
President Perry?
Yes. Okay. Yes, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Okay, next on the agenda is program reports.
No, secretary.
Did we get the secretary? Oh, I'm sorry. We need the secretary's report. Excuse me.
Do you want to make a report? Are you going to make a report, a president's report also, or are you going to skip that for later?
My report was just all those.
I have a lot of things secretary-wise, but I think most of them can go in like to, which I don't see here, committee reports, which really is kind of what mine go into. So why don't I delay that there?
Okay.
Put it in the new business even if we want. So I have nothing right now.
That's a good question. My thoughts.
Senior
Senior millage. Missed one here on the treasurers. We want to go through this entire?
Well, that was the budget, and we'll ask Commissioner Brumman if what we did was sufficient
Okay.
for the commissioners to approve.
I believe it will.
Okay. So we can skip that one for now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you gonna do these? In-home service and the food bank one?
Yeah, trying to just get to those now. That would be the, I'm assuming the program reports here. Okay. So we have in-home services. Okay. Well, I guess I'll just read those off then. Okay, the January in-home service board book. Personal care hours, 32 and a half. Respite care hours, 78. Homemaking hours, 352 and 3/4 hours. We currently have 7 direct care workers. They're all doing fantastic. We were recently given bags to pass out to seniors that will help them dispose of their old medications safely and properly. Okay. Any additions to that report? Anybody? Questions? Okay. Okay. The next one would be food services. Shelby was going to present that to us, but since she probably got snowed in, so. Okay, I will just go through the whole thing with the front sheet here. Okay, February 23 board meeting, February 28th, 2023. This is January and February updates and the January 2023 meal statistics. Okay, over 60, 141 meals. Less than 60, there were 35 meals, and these numbers include the staff. Okay, hot meals were 1,584, frozen meals 914, and sacks 375. Well, I guess we might, it's quite an extensive report. We might leave that, I guess, till the next meeting.
Right,
If anybody,
let her
since
explain it.
that would have to be up to her to explain that, so. Okay. Next one is transportation. Okay, miles traveled, 7,795 miles. Hours worked, 314 hours and 17 minutes. Okay. Number of transports, 53. Cancellations by clients, 12. And declined due to vehicle shortage is 13. We had fuel cost of $1,409. The cost analysis was $10,182.97. DHHS billed out $2,782.43. And self-pay was $1,346.87. And vehicle maintenance and repairs, we had a tire replacement on the white van at $552. Mounting and balancing was $75, tire disposal $12, and shop supplies $5, for a total of $644 for a set of tires. Okay. And that is the travel. Next one, the food pantry, run by Karen Hughes. Okay. During the month of January, the food bank provided food to a total of 400 households, 100 through our monthly direct give program and 300 through our mobile pop-up. We are pleased to announce we did not have any households request emergency food boxes in January. The mobile pop-ups are being held at Kohl's Appliance Warehouse. Mr. Brad Cole has generously allowed us not only use of his building, but also his staff to assist the pop-up as necessary. In turn, we, the food bank, have given Mr. Cole, or Kohl's Appliance, a receipt for his in-kind donation. We continue to welcome new volunteers to support our efforts to eliminate food insecurity in Alcona County. Thank you, Karen Sue Hughes, the food bank coordinator. I would like to make one comment. Every time I see this, I am absolutely amazed when you see 300 cars lined up to receive food. That is a dire need in this county. And I'd just like to thank Karen for her dedication to that program. So, okay. Moving on. Financial reports. Okay, so everybody's had a chance to look at that. Okay. Dr. Dirk, did you have anything to say about the finance report, or was there anything you wanted to say on the finance report?
I definitely wanted to say in the back here where you see payments going to Michael Suter. Michael Suter is our IT guy, let's put it that way, and the work he has done in the last month is amazing. He's gone through things and canceled services that we weren't using, and right now it looks like he's saving us $600 a month that he's found thus far, but it keeps going up every day. Things that services we were paying for that we weren't using or didn't need. Obviously, he and Rick Casel took down all the surveillance throughout, but getting us into accounts, setting up new Zoom accounts, setting up new YouTube, Google accounts, amazing work. We're extremely lucky to have him for what he has done. There was a charge for $1,300 from the people who do our electronic backup on our files. It was a double charge, so he got that, talked to them, that hadn't been picked up somewhere along the line, so he got that picked up and added to our, so we don't have to pay for that until 2026 or 2027. So the amount of money he has saved us is multiplied by, whatever we're paying, have paid him. But if that looks a little high, that's why. He's been here many, many days when we've been here doing things, and other times that we haven't been here. And then the other thing, there's still a problem that I spoke to Acting Director Cray about in the respite. We still have some of the new building project funds being shown in respite. She thinks that's an old miscategorization that hasn't been rectified yet. However, we're looking at trying to determine exactly how much has been spent on the new building project, so then we can probably talk to our grant administrator and see if we can use some of those funds that they've issued already to reimburse us for some of those funds we've already paid. So, but that, I have talked to her about that. So they know it's a problem. It obviously hasn't been rectified yet, because you still see that under respite care.
Okay. Any other comments on that financial report? Okay. Would like to make a motion to accept that our financial report?
I'll make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. All those, we're going to need a roll call.
Treasurer Lynch,
Yes,
Director Potter,
Yes.
Vice President Schlicker,
Yes.
Secretary Turek, yes. Director Weiner,
Yes.
President Perrin.
Yes. Okay, motion passed. Okay, next would be our executive director report, but being that it's a snow day, I guess she didn't make it in today, so we're going to go on by that one. And then that brings us to old or unfinished business. The first item on there would be our generator. I had an update the other day. Unfortunately, Generac, the factory, is still having trouble getting parts and, which isn't just Generac. I mean, all over the nation, people are having trouble getting parts to finish stuff. So it looks like we won't be getting that generator until near the end of April. So that's the update on our generator. Another item I wanted to bring up under the unfinished business, most of you will remember a few months back, Mr. Chris Scully. He was in and had maybe you'd say a complaint. A while back there had been a problem with, he used to clean our vehicles, and we brought it back. A vehicle got damaged. He was blamed for the damage. Anyway, I went and to the body shop and talked to the owner, and he said definitely the damage came from the door coming open on the food delivery vehicle. So it was not Mr. Scully's fault of the accident. So I'd like to see the board reimburse Mr. Scully his $500 deductible and extend to him an apology for what he went through over this incident.
So I'm assuming we have proof that he paid that $500 deductible?
Yes, I have, well, pass it to you first. This is the check, and these are the bills from the body shop also. We'll take a look and pass it to the other directors.
So my concern was this done right to begin with? Should his personal insurance have ever been primary? Should it?
No. That should have been, our insurance should have taken care of that.
I also looked at the video. Lenny had me come in his office and look at the video. And I could not see at all where Chris backed into that other car. I said it had to be that door that come open, because you could see that the Jeep moved a little bit. But it had to be that door that came open. And I was using that white meal truck to do the route one day. And I was coming off Poor Farm Road, turned down to 72, and looked in the mirror on the passenger side, and the door was flying back and forth. That door had come open when I was driving. So I do know that that door did not work properly. I do know it came open without just grabbing it and opening it. So I would make a motion to repay Chris Scully for that $500.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. All in favor say, once again, it's money. Okay. Roll call.
Let's go Director Weiner,
Yes.
Vice President Schlicker,
Yes.
Secretary Turek, yes. Director Potter,
Yes.
Treasurer Lynch,
Yes.
and President Perrin.
Yes.
And we do apologize to you, Chris, for what you went through that day. That it was not necessary, and on behalf of the staff that was here, we do apologize for what happened.
The board as it sits now can't apologize for what happened in the past. It had been brought to the other board members' attention. I had talked to Mr. O'Connor. I had requested a video from Mr. Avery, and none of that had ever come through. My next step was, had it not been taken care of, was to have a video of what Mr. Avery had done to me downstairs, because you had security system in here. That security system in the video, if he had it, of his actions, would have shown that he was a poor director.
And I'm not sure if that video even exists. I don't know, does anybody know if that video even would exist anymore?
Mike said it doesn't.
It doesn't?
That he knows of.
If it ever comes that there is a suit from Mr. Avery. There are witnesses that saw this happen, and I would stand up in court against him.
Okay.
Thank you.
Once again, Chris, we do apologize for what you went through. If it wasn't not necessary, should never happen. And I guess at this time, I would ask, are you still cleaning vehicles, or?
At the moment, I'm not.
Okay. If you ever decide you want to again, we'd like to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
We always appreciated your work. You've always done very fine work. And, I mean, basically, your reputation is stellar throughout this county, all those that know you, so thank you. Okay, anything else under unfinished business?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
A few months ago, when I got the back door back here and the front door replaced, I also wanted to replace the door going into the kitchen. And Mr. Avery said they didn't need that door. They do need the door. The cooks works in there with their coats on because the cold draft coming in through around the door and everything. And I thought then that door should be replaced, and he turned it down, so I could only do what I could do on it. And I think now that the attitude has changed on the board and that, I think that door should be replaced. It cost about $2,000, maybe a little more. I'd have to go and get another estimate from Northeastern Window and Door and get the price on it if the board would like to do that. Because those cooks are always complaining that it's cold in there in the kitchen. Even with them cooking that, you wouldn't think it'd be that cold, but evidently there's enough cold air coming around the door that it should be replaced.
I'd like to make a comment to
Can it have a weather
that.
kit put on it? Can it just be weatherized?
Yeah, I was just going to make a comment on that. I looked at that door a couple days ago, and I really don't know who installed that thing, but with the little proper trim work and an insulation kit on that, weather stripping kit, I'm pretty sure that can be resolved. I think we should do that first, and if the condition persists, then I'd be more than willing to go further with it. So anyway, that was a comment I had on the door.
I mean, when I went down there, it's hundreds of dollars every year that we're probably wasting on fuel costs on that. It's just whether it needs to be a whole new door or whether it can be just weatherized. That's not my specialty, but.
No, we can weather. I mean, there's a 3/8 gap on top of that door. I mean, it's like a windstorm coming through there. So yeah, with a piece of trim and a weather stripping kit, I'm pretty sure we can take care of the problem. If not, then I would go for replacing the entire door.
Can we do it, or should we hire it done? Could our
It's-
maintenance man do it?
Yeah, it's a pretty simple fix. I think we can either the maintenance man or maybe a volunteer could take care of that. It's not a major problem. I don't know why it's never been fixed. It's kind of ridiculous to be wasting that kind of money on our heating bill for something that would probably take a half hour to fix it. And any other discussion on it?
I would also comment on, if it is going to be replaced, I would recommend we have more than just one going to Northeastern Door.
Right.
Contact a couple contractors and see if they could come in and say, get the door, put it in, and have it done the right way too. It'll supersede the cost in savings over a period of time. It won't do it immediately, but it'll help. So I would like to see more than just one bid come in on it.
If we have to do that.
If we have to do
Yeah.
that, correct.
My possibility that door there maybe we don't have to get a, quite an expensive, door, because the doors that was put in are lifetime, guarantee. And they're not metal or just plain wood.
Have composite.
Yeah,
Probably industrial, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, probably industrial.
So is that something that one of us should take care of, or Roland, to see if he could find a volunteer to do it, or have our maintenance man do it? Leave it up to Roland, or?
I would say Roland and I are on the building committee, so I think you and I could probably get together and take care of that.
And
You're on the new building committee, but we can put you on this committee. We can put you on every committee.
no.
So,
Retired,
would that work for
retired,
you,
not
Roland?
retired.
If you do that?
We'll give it a try.
We'll give it a try, and if it doesn't work, then we'll come back and get a new door installed. Okay, moving on then. Any more unfinished business?
Well, since we're talking about doors right now, how about that door right there? When you looked at it, it looks like it, you said, oh, it just might need is Northeastern looking at it. And
Northeastern or one other door company. I mean, there's just, they're replaceable. It's the top and bottom latch that have been broken. But I'm assuming they can still get parts for it, so, yeah, it could be repaired.
Are you talking the glass doors?
Yes. You can't open the right-hand side. If you do, it won't lock without fiddling with the
Right,
the top
pushing that
latch.
thing up.
So, yeah, we can, the committee, I guess, can check in on getting somebody to come out and look at that door, see if they still have parts for it. If
And I'd
that's,
also like to see the committee look at the 2 wooden doors, putting on the bottom, because there's quite a gap through there, and if we would kind of seal those off with threshold, it would possibly keep it warmer in here too. So-
yeah, I think we could make you president of that committee.
I
would be an
nominate
easy-
Phil.
That'll be an easy
You
fix.
second it?
That'll be an easy fix, that one.
That's been first, second, and thirded, so, okay.
well, on that note, I did call the consumers, the community affairs guy, Richard Castle, about coming out and doing getting a whole new energy audit done. And he said somebody will be getting to us this week. Light fixtures, insulation, whatever. So he doesn't know that it's been done, a whole energy audit. So hopefully we can get him to do that.
Has anybody ever taken care of getting the gas provider changed over?
Yeah, I did that.
That's already taken care of, okay. Yeah, that should save a lot of money over the next few years. Okay. Any other unfinished business? Okay. Hearing none. Guess we'll go to new business. Okay.
The first item is where I was authorized at the last meeting to get a cost proposal from Stevenson, in particular Cindy Scott, about doing what they call, I believe, an internal controls audit to try to address some of the things that have been shown up on the financial audit that we've had done over the years. And this 3 pages talks about what she's going to do, over the time frame. They are able to start pretty much on our approval. The 3rd page, the top paragraph, bottom line of the top paragraph, talks about the arrangement, the range of costs, what it might be. She just doesn't really know until they get in there and they start looking. But that's what it would be.
So,
What is a internal audit? Does that do more than what she did for our regular audit?
Quite a bit.
yes, quite a bit.
Quite a bit more, it digs in a little deeper and,
Quite a bit deeper.
okay.
Quite a bit deeper, and trying to get to some of those deficiencies that
Don't
keep showing
try.
up.
Do we need a motion to have her do this, or?
Yes.
We would need a motion.
I would make a motion that we have her do this internal audit.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion that has been first and seconded for an internal audit. Well, I guess once again, we need a roll call.
Let's go Vice President Schmucker,
Yes.
Director Weinar,
Yes.
Secretary Turek, yes. Director Potter,
Yes.
Treasurer Lynch,
Yes,
Mr. President Perrin, also.
Yes.
The next item is the Senior Citizen Service Agreement between Alcona County and the ACCOA, our agreement with the commissioners. Yearly signed, we're a little bit behind. I went over with Commissioner Brumman, and as far as we could tell, there was no difference from previous years. As we were talking about the budget earlier, we are due, not that we wouldn't do it anyway, but we should be evaluating that at least quarterly. And that should be part of the reports that we're giving to them. That would be on page 4, number 8, the things that we're required to give to them monthly. But there is no change in any of the language as far as we can tell from previous years.
Okay, so then do we need a motion to accept the contract?
I think we need a motion to accept.
I'll second.
Motion to, I'm going to make a motion that we accept this as a board and authorize President Perrin to sign this on our behalf.
I'll second it.
Okay. We have a motion first and seconded. Let's, yeah. All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried.
I have some other things that probably, one of the agendas, we don't have committee reports, so I'd like to talk about certain things. The election that's upcoming, we did yesterday with the deadline for people to put in their applications for board positions, so we have 5 applicants. So I will be having background checks done on all of them, and then I will contact all of those applicants for 2 reasons. I would like them to make up a little summary of their qualifications and how they feel about things, or their history, so they can go out in the newsletter that Barb Casel, we should give her credit for revamping the newsletter so they can put it in the, staple it,
Very nice. It was colorful. Looked real nice.
so that they can staple it to the back so that anybody gets a newsletter gets that. And then we had talked about having a meet the candidates type of
Dinner.
a forum, not only to, of course, meet the candidates, but to have people come back and have a meal and see that we're making changes and open for business. So we don't have, in the bylaws, a quote-unquote nominating committee is really only done for the election, not when you're trying to fill a board vacancy. And a nominating committee is the only committee that needs to be elected. It can't be an appointed committee. So I don't know, at this point in time, do we need a nominating committee to do this? Or can we just do what we've done for the last month, have board members, we've got at least 3 board members here who are familiar with the election process, running that. I don't know that we need to elect a nominating committee. We can, but we have another election coming up later this year that we will need to elect a nominating committee according to our bylaws. So I don't know if we want to do that right now, or if that's something we can put off till later.
I would prefer to put it off till next meeting myself.
Till we get a full board.
Yeah.
So So I will be contacting all the applicants this week. Like I said, there was 5 of them. I said I did contact consumers about coming and doing an energy audit. Obviously, the gym has been straightened up and a lot of things moved. I have to give credit to Fred and Kathy Benson for the plan on doing that. Not to mention most of the work. I would like the board's feeling on, we have enough room here now that I could put tape down and we could have a pickleball court. But I'm not going to do that without the board's approval. So I would ask, does the board have any opinions on that? I have paddles that I can donate, I have balls I can donate. The ACCOA should buy a net, a portable net. Usually they're less than $100 to do that, so.
I have a question. Shouldn't we vote on tabling what you said a few minutes earlier about
Nominating committee?
not nominating committee?
Yeah, do we want to just continue doing what we're doing, each board member pitching in and doing what they need to do, or do we need to formally elect a nominating committee? Which we can, it's not in the bylaws, but it doesn't prohibit it also if we need a nominating committee to run the special election. But is it necessary?
I just asked a question on it.
I don't think it'd be necessary.
Yeah.
I don't either.
Yeah, I don't think we need a motion on that at this point. So we can bring it up again at the next meeting and
But how about the meeting the candidates? We just kind of want to, are we going to have the special election this month? I mean, I haven't run an election. Do we have enough time if we have 5 people that have applied? I get the background checks in a couple days. Is there any reason that it can't be done this month?
I think it can be done.
I don't see any reason why it couldn't be done this month.
I think it should be.
So I think we would just advertise in the paper for a week, maybe. I don't know that we're required to do that. We haven't got access to the Facebook account yet, so obviously we would advertise on Facebook if we have the account access taken care of, which we don't. The website, we're still working on getting access to that so that we don't have to call the website managers every time we want to make a change. So we're trying to get that access that, because it's not only a extra cost, but it's inefficient for me to have to call them and then have them make a change. So I can handle that if the board is, you know, amenable to that, setting up, you know, some kind of a meet the candidates.
Yeah, I would like to see it done, you know, and get a full board again. Yeah, I really don't see why we can't. It'd be nice to have it, you know, so we could, you know, seat the new board members at the next meeting.
Yeah, I mean, our legal counsel says you want to get it done as soon as possible. When I look over the last 3 years, we've had 10 meetings where we've only had 6 board members. So it's not an aberration, you know, that the board has functioned over the last 3 years with many visits with only, many meetings with only 6 members, but our council says really want to try to get it done as soon as possible.
We just have to make sure that we're going to have this meeting and a meal, that we give the kitchen enough time to get this stuff ordered, and the kitchen has to know as soon as possible when we're going to do it.
So the exercise area, we found out the other day that turned the TV on, and it worked for a while, but then it died. And talking to our IT guy, he says it's been gone for years. That's what it'll happen. It'll run for a while and then shut off. So I think the board would need to decide sooner or later, do you want to spend the money to get a new TV there, or are both the TVs in the downstairs being used? Can we move one up?
Why do we need one there?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, if people use the treadmills and use the equipment, it is nice watching TV or watching a movie or whatever. It's set up to watch whatever you want. Now, if people haven't been using it because they haven't been using the gym, that doesn't mean they wouldn't, but I mean, I think the board needs to decide. He said that's 15 years old, that Susan ordered that when when she was here before.
Wow.
So I don't know that I feel comfortable
Act-
buying a
actually-
new one.
Actually, Brad donated that. And it probably is 15 years ago, but Brad Cole donated that.
I would think we could use one of the
Ones
televisions downstairs.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's two downstairs.
I've never seen them turned on yet, so.
just move one up here and
Yeah.
make sure, see if it works.
Okay. So I can talk to Mike about doing that.
Yeah.
As far as the secretary, kind of my report, we're trying to get it so that the secretary of the board takes duties away from the secretary of the ACCOA, that she has been doing things that she shouldn't be having to do that are board related. So I'm trying to take some of that, all of that back from her. Not that they haven't done a good job, it's that they shouldn't be required to do board duties in addition to ACCOA duties. But so we're having a little trouble locating when everybody who's resigned, when their terms expired. So we know that Phil, at least one person who resigned, their term expired later this year, that's the one we appointed Phil to, the shortest term. The other ones that are up, so we're trying to locate that also. But one of the things that fell through the cracks months ago was a new Freedom of Information Act policy that never came before the board to vote on. It was made, but the board never voted on it. And if you look at the website, it's a 15 page document that somebody needs to get information. Well, talking to our legal counsel, he says basically everything we have can be public, as long as it doesn't have somebody's personal identification numbers on it, their health history, etc. So I think we're looking at getting everything loaded out there so that a Freedom of Information Act isn't as necessary. Everything's already out there. So that's the goal. First of all, to get all the minutes up there will be the main thing. Obviously, I mean, it took me a month to get all our minutes when I came on the board, so that's unacceptable. We'll have all the minutes there. Those of you in the audience who don't know, we made kind of a boardroom back here so that there's a couple tables back here. The lawyer wanted to get together with, the attorney wanted to get together with us and have a information gathering. He was sick. Our financial advisor wants to get with us. I would recommend that she gets with the whole board as opposed to just 2 or 3 members of the finance committee, because we have to reevaluate our risk tolerance and our risk acceptance, how much risk we're willing to take. So I think that's a whole board matter. So that would be, but we can do it back here now, privately without bothering everybody. The finance committee kind of things, we finally got access to all the accounts. It was very hard. Certain things were set up with personal emails as opposed to business emails. A lot of accounts were set up with personal emails. A lot of accounts only had one person's name on it as opposed to several people's names. So that's been a challenge, but we're getting there. But my question is, as far as now that we know the original project was proposed as a $33.5 million project, 80,000 square foot senior center, that's never going to happen. And then it went down to $22.5 million at a 30,000 square foot, that we know that's not going to happen. How much as a board do we want to put into this facility? Because the way I see it, this facility is going to have a use once we build the new senior center. So things like chairs, cleaning chairs. Do we want to spend money to have these chairs cleaned? Do we want to do other things downstairs that might take some money, or just say, look, we're not going to be here a year and a half from now, let's let it fall down around our ears? So, I mean, that would be a question I think the board needs to ask itself. I would like to, number one, if we're going to use these chairs, if they're superior to the folding chairs, I'd like to get these chairs cleaned.
I'll clean
We have somebody to clean them?
it. I'll clean it.
We have a volunteer.
Under my house then.
Stanley.
And then the other thing,
I think several years we haven't cleaned, and I think we use Stanley's company to do it, Stanley Cleaners. to do it.
But we have a volunteer to,
But I'm just
yeah,
telling you information, you know.
yeah, yeah, thank you.
And then I'd like to consider having some kind of yard sale or a rummage sale to sell what's in storage units or sell what's in the attic. You know, the members that have been here longer than I know much more than I which of this stuff can be parted with or not. But I mean, folding chairs, what do we have? 500 folding chairs? I mean,
Probably.
do we anticipate that? Are there things that we could have, or do we want to just donate them, or do we want to have a method to get people to come in here and see the facilities, and meanwhile getting rid of some of this extra equipment?
I'm in favor of waiting till springtime or early summer and having like a garage sale and putting, you know, we have package of 10 chairs, because those metal chairs, a lot of them is not much good. You can see where they've been welded, some of them is still broke. We could keep some for extra, but just have, there's a lot of stuff here that's brand new, not even out of the boxes yet, and we can't use it. I mean, there's carts that we can't even use because they're too big for the kitchen. I talked to the food bank, they're way too big for her. So now we got, I don't know what they cost, but they're still in the box. I don't like to just give this stuff away. I'm thinking in the spring, go over, gather all this stuff up, and have a garage sale. If you can get $2 for this and $3 for that, and see what we can do.
And we're open to suggestions.
So do we need to authorize, are you volunteering at no charge, or? Okay, that takes care of that.
We like that.
And also,
If you leave.
on those,
I'd like to also consider the board to put a notice out to the people that possibly we could rent this for senior graduation days. They have trouble trying to find spots for senior parties. There's only one, Mankato Civic Center, that's booked, and the pavilion's booked. We could do something on, you know, we're gonna need the chairs and the tables, of course, for people to sit down in. But I'd like to see the gym opened up, put an article in the paper that the gym is open and that reservations are being taken for senior parties for this, you know, year, this coming year. Get some revenue coming back in, get some people utilizing our building.
Yeah.
We got it cleaned up now, we got it where people can use it.
How is our liability for something like that?
Someone walks in the door, they're covered. I
So
mean,
if somebody gets on that machine and falls and gets hurt, then we're covered?
It's gotta be an umbrella policy.
Okay.
I mean, that should be looked into, but I would think that our insurance company, same with the Village of Lincoln when I was president, it was an umbrella policy. When you walk through those doors, you're covered. As long as we're not negligent. That's the thing. We can't be negligent on it. So I just think that would be, try to utilize.
Would we be negligent by leaving that out there so a 5-year-old can use it? Would we be negligent doing that? Or having that available? Or,
Right
I don't know how
now,
that works.
how was it in the past? Did you have to sign in, and
Yes.
so you had to
Yeah.
sign in and you have
And
to?
didn't we have something also about you had to be a certain age in order to use it?
I think it's 16.
I'm new on the board, so that's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but how do we
Robin, do you know
control
how
that?
that-
16 and older.
16 and older?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I think that's already there.
And they have to sign a waiver form and with their basic information, you sign at the bottom,
Okay.
so that's it.
But if we rent that out for a graduation party, how do we control that 6-year-old's not gonna
Well,
go
the
use it?
equipment's out of hand, you just rope it off. Nobody goes into that area. That's gotta be sealed off.
Okay.
And it could be put in the contract when they're making a contract for using it for a senior party, that a clause is in there, that the gym equipment is not to be used.
Yes.
Period.
And have the party renting the building liable for
Yes.
all.
For any,
Yeah, for their
yeah.
violations.
So
Yeah.
that way, if it's put in the contract, you're covered.
Downstairs.
So we'll wait
Chris is-
for a week, a month, from now, and then sometime this spring, we'll have a yard sale and
Okay.
advertise it. But I just wanted to put that out there. There's a lot of stuff that probably could be cleaned out. The board, the stage can be used still now also. These aren't permanent structures, so this can be moved. So we could have DJ, dance, movie night, anything here that we wanted, so.
Okay.
That's
Chris,
all
are you trying to make
I-
a comment? Oh, okay, sorry.
Some about downstairs.
Tone deaf.
So she was saying if we have a yard sale before that and anything that doesn't sell, then we can take it to the countywide cleanup and be done with it once and for all.
That'd be nice.
It'll be in May?
Second Tuesday,
Okay. Second Saturday.
So that's all I had.
I do have, probably should have been in the, my report. Anyway, received a contract back from SIDOC Group, the architects, and actually proposal. So I only have 2 copies here. I was going to give Bob a copy because you need to send one to our attorney to look it over. And then I'll have additional copies made so everybody can take a look at this. But the way it works, I believe what they explained to us is that, you know, this will be a proposal, and if we agree to this, then they will send us an actual contract, which we'll have to sign that. But anyway, as it stands right now, what we have found out through the architects and the MEDC, where the grant originated, there was so much misinformation. Okay. So, trying to think of her name. Kristen, right? Yeah, at the MEDC said, this grant is for a community hub, period. Doesn't say there's any requirements for housing or townhomes or any of that stuff. So basically what the board has decided, first on our list, of course, is the senior center. And we're looking at this point, between 12 and 15,000 square feet. And we believe we can get everything we need in that space. We will naturally have to do some of the outdoor amenities. We have a little over 13 acres on that site. The plan was to put a nature walk around that. Maybe one all the way around, and then maybe one go halfway through for those who don't want to take the whole walk. But anyway, we can work on that. We would like to have a pavilion and a gazebo. We're looking at maybe in times of good weather, somebody wants to have a wedding or something, you have a gazebo, and then you have a pavilion. And hopefully we can do that with, you know, maybe a barbecue pit or a fire pit or something like that. But these are all preliminary plans. As this goes along, we will have time to show what the architects have come up with and get some opinions on it. And also, we would like to do, depending on the funding, we would like to do some of the senior housing. And the senior housing would be, you know, handicap accessible and, you know, ADA compliant. And one of the thoughts being, you know, we have many seniors, obviously, who would possibly want to move from their existing homes. You know, they might have a large home, they might have a farm, you know, and it's too much for them to take care of. And of course, the aging process comes in there. But, you know, if they would move into one of these homes, that would actually open up another house for rent for somebody else. You know, we always talk about the shortage, so, you know, that would alleviate some of it also. Like I say, we don't know how many of these houses we can build at this point. One of the first things we have to do with this contract, we will be looking for a, you can call it project manager, construction manager, whatever. Basically what that does, he or she will take the place of what we used to have as a general contractor. Used to be a general contractor would look at a job, he would get all the sub bids and then put in a price to do the entire job. Now it seems to work out much better. If you have a project manager is working for you, okay? And they will be in close contact with the architect and all the subcontractors and everything, and we will actually have a contract with them, and they work on a percentage. One of the nice things about having a project manager is that once you have all your drawings, everything's approved, he's gone out and got all the bids, you know what you're looking at, and contracts are being signed. If something goes wrong, it's going to come out of their pocket and not ours. So that's a real plus, having a construction or project manager. So anyway, that's one of the first things we'll be advertising for. And after that, and after the plans are complete, we will be advertising for bids for all the sub bids and all that. Hopefully, it will be open to local contractors. Hopefully, we'll have a whole bunch of local contractors willing to bid on this project and take part in it. But it's going to be up to their qualifications and the dollars their bid. Not that you always take the lowest price. You have to take a look at things and see what their bid entails, and actually even their references, what kind of work they do. So those are things we're going to look at. One detail I found out is originally, because it was going to have started out low-income housing and then the missing middle income and all of that, you would have to operate under the Davis-Bacon Act. And if you're not familiar with that, it means that basically all the workers on that job would be paid prevailing wage, which is usually union wage. So we won't have that one, so possibly that will open the door for more local bidders. So we'll just have to see how that goes. Right now on the new building committee, it's myself and our new man Phil here and Stan. We're the building committee, and then of course we answer to the entire board. So anyway, that's the progress report on our new building.
When you, so coordinator of the grant, and you spoke to our rep, and wasn't she a little, give you some information on our timeline that some people are concerned about?
Yes, absolutely. That was another plus. There was always this talk about we got to get this done, got to get it done because everything has to be done on this timeline. Well, that's not exactly true. If, as we are working on this and actually showing progress, that we are getting plans and we are in the works of doing this, with a simple letter we can get like a 2-year extension. So we're not under the gun on a timeline. So we will be able to take enough time to do this properly, and we're going to wind up with an awesome community hub. Like I've said so many times, a senior center is a community center. We are going to have facilities that can be, rented out for, a wedding or graduation or, reunion or whatever. And, we'll have exercise equipment, and it's truly a community center. It's going to be in a great setting. Our plans are to remove as few trees as possible. We want to keep it as natural looking as possible. And I don't know, there's just a whole lot of pluses, and I'm looking forward to it. And I think we're going to have just an awesome senior center, community center, and it's going to be a focal point, I think, for Alcona County.
At this point, though, the first thing is a senior center. Then, when that's done and the outdoor stuff, then see how much money we got, and maybe we can build a garage, or maybe we garage for our trucks, or
Well,
or housing at that point when we're when we get the senior center up and running, see how much money we got. Is that the
Actually,
plan?
no, not necessarily. Actually, the way this will work with a construction manager, working with the architects, as we go along, we see what we have. You know, it's not just a one-time. We'll be, there'll be a lot of conversations with the architect and our construction manager. And as we go along, when we get to that point, we will know exactly how much money it's going to cost us. Okay? So we will know how much money, before we start any construction, we will know how many senior homes we can build, how many outdoor amenities we can do. You know, if we can put an outbuilding for, you know, I hope we're going to have a full-time maintenance man, you know. Hopefully we'll have a garage or a pole barn or something for, I hope we'll have a truck with a plow on it. We'll have a riding lawnmower or whatever is necessary to keep the grounds. You know, I think we're going to need a full-time maintenance man working on that project. So, but we will know, I mean, the cost will be there. Once we sign the contract, we will know how much it's going to cost us. And if it doesn't come up to $12.5 million, we'll tell them to do something else because we're going to spend every dollar on it. So, and I don't, hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. Any other new business to come up? Carolyn, did you have any comments for us at this time?
No, other than to say, I think that the board that you have, and with the new folks that will fill that board out, I think they're making good progress. They're spending a lot of time, a lot of energy towards the good of the cause. And as was said, the senior center is a community center, because someday, with God's luck, we'll all be there. So, I've been very impressed that they are doing a lot of work. So.
Okay, thank you. Well, if there's no other new business at this time, we'd like to open up for public comment. A couple things we should say that we haven't done in the past. You know, there are rules. You know, it's 2 minutes. Everybody gets the chance to speak one time. No, you cannot give your time to somebody else. You know, it's not you know, the legislature or something. So, but everybody will give them the opportunity to speak if they have a comment. You can come and address the board. We will listen to you, and it's 2 minutes. So, got our timekeeper here. Okay, Chris first.
So I want to thank you, and I accept your apology for the previous board.
Thank you.
But in your plans, when Dolores said a garage, I think it would benefit not only the vehicles but the personnel if you did include some type of a heated garage for those vehicles.
Right.
Wintertime, you know, I know it was talked before where you could go right from the kitchen into the truck without having to go outside like they do now.
I will make a comment on that. I talked to the architects about, you know, we had hoped to do a garage underneath in the center over the top of it because, you know, there's a lot of sloping terrain and whatever. The cost of that is just too prohibitive. So basically what we've come up with at this point, like now in the kitchen, you know, there's, you know, the trucks back up and they haul their meals out. But we can build, you know, I guess you could call it a garage right there at that point. So the food trucks, you know, could back in and, you know, shut the doors and, you know, at least be out of the elements.
Yeah.
And, you know, they could load up their trucks and whatever, then off they go. So
And
we are going to have at least that. The other building, you know, hopefully a pole barn or something, yeah, it would be nice to have some kind of heat in there. You know, it's expensive to keep up vehicles.
In plans.
Yeah.
And then, let's say, they used to rent this out, and let's say also the basement. If I wanted to come in here and rent the bottom half, I could use the kitchen to have a party. You could rent the whole building, or you could rent just the upstairs.
Yeah.
I would like to see that come back, along with senior meals. Now, I don't know when they ceased to happening, but I've talked to several seniors that enjoyed coming here for their dinners.
Yeah.
So,
You know,
great job, and I look forward to seeing the progress.
It really messed us up. So, now it's time to, get back into what the senior center does. So, thank you, Chris. Fred, did I see your hand up back there?
Yes, you did.
Want to make another comment?
I haven't decided.
In fact, I'm sorry, when you stand up, would you give your name and where you live? I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
My name's Fred Benson, Harrisville Township. I would just like the board's approval to address the public, to put some context in my part of this, of what happened here. Is that acceptable to the board?
Your comment?
Can I, instead of standing here, can I come up there and do it that way?
Sure.
My wife and I moved here 16 months ago. Dr. Turek and Lisa are my neighbors. We bought the property. He's also my doctor. One day I was over there, I said, if I had a place to work out, it might help. He said, we have a place out here. Came out, started working out, it was a nightmare. Dr. Turek walked over and asked, he said, do you know anything about this? And I said, yes, I do. My experience in Texas dealt with things like this. Can you help us out? Not a problem. All he did was ask me. We sat down, made an assessment of the building. What we found out was there's a lot of things that belong to other organizations here. All these racks back here are actually the food bank racks. So you had all your equipment back here that no one could use. I would talk to people, people would come in. I think the statements y'all made to me was, my wife, I, and 2 other people were here, were the most people had seen in a month in here. People didn't come in here because it was very unsafe. First thing I did was make an assessment. The assessment was every piece of equipment met no standards. There's certain standards that your equipment has to be apart, trip hazards, everything. Drew up a plan. Dr. Turek said, didn't see it happen. Didn't understand how it happened. We came in, talked to Leroy, talked to anybody I've seen here. I've talked to people that come in here every day. What do you want to see? What do you want?
Sorry, Fred, you only have like 30 seconds.
Well, can you expend it, please? No, we can't expend it now.
No, we can't do the rules.
2 minutes.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, if you have any problems with the way it's set up, do not address them. You can address me on it. But this is Dr. Turek's. This is Dr. Turek's vision for all of you. All I did was a little bit of manpower. So that's all I'm trying to put out there is that, pointed out my wife and I, we were here to help. That's all. We wanted to
Another volunteer.
we really want to keep them up.
We love volunteers. So,
Hello, Judy French, Harrisville. Couple of things. One, now that there's a nice open space in here again, maybe somebody can get a hold of the 4-H Archery Club. I don't know if they have found a new location, but I know they used to use this building. So I think it would be a good gesture to offer that for our 4-H again. Couple of things about, like with the new building, so the location, I know that, ACCOA owns that property there by the Dollar General, and that's at least the plan for where to build. However, would it be possible to talk with the powers that be at the village and find out if that other piece of property that was offered originally is still available? It's nice and flat, we don't have to cut down trees. Maybe we could still get that property and build there. And in doing so, we can unload, sell the property by the Dollar General. Just a thought. Also, and I don't know who it was, and so therefore at this point it's hearsay, but we could follow up on it. I did hear that there is somebody that would be interested in purchasing this building once the new building is up and, the center moves. So that's something possibly to look into. Knowing that somebody might be interested in this building, we can look at that versus what are we gonna do with this building and keeping it up and going, so. I think that's it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Can I comment on that property?
Sure.
That property that you're talking about, if I'm not mistaken, is less acreage, more money than what we have now.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
I don't know how many, I think it was 10 acres, and maybe that is less, but my understanding is it's up there in that loop, industrial loop.
That whole loop is 40 acres.
Okay,
I annexed that into the village when I was president to make it into part of the downtown development. And then they had it sectioned off into lots. So it would determine how many lots that the DDA or the IDC, which is the industrial development, would be willing to allow us to have. Would they allow us, are they going to give us all 40 acres now?
no, I think.
So it would depends on how many and whereabouts it would determine.
It's worth looking into, though.
Yeah.
Pam McKenna and Lincoln and Spruce. Dolores, you mentioned racks and stuff. Caledonia Township is going to be redoing their kitchen. They might be interested.
I can't hear you.
Caledonia Township is redoing their kitchen. They might be interested in some of those racks that you had mentioned. So
Oh.
once you get an inventory of what you have as far as kitchen equipment, maybe we could talk to them. I was wondering about Chris's insurance. Obviously, it went up due to the claim that was actually Lenny's fault. I was wondering if maybe he got a letter from you guys that he could take to his insurance, that it might lower him back into a different bracket. I would like to thank you all for stepping up, going above and beyond.
Yes.
I am going to give credit to, and it's hard because there's so much that was wrong, but I still feel that we need to give some credit to Lenny and the old board for the fact that they did get the grant, and that I'm not hearing a whole lot of difference other than the fact that we're not having townhouses and stuff. Basically, we're riding on what they did. So as much as we take and want to take credit for that, and we're going to do a great job, I still think they deserve a little bit of credit. I want to thank you for trying to meet all the staff's needs, especially the kitchen door. The pickleball court question that Bob had mentioned, you guys never answered it, so I'm curious as to whether he can do that or not. And also, there's one other thing. Maybe, I guess that's it. Oh, no, it was, when I was saying stepping up and thank you for everything you're doing, I know you're getting a pretty bad rap in all the local newspapers and stuff, and I really hope that the local press will acknowledge the good things that you're doing. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We will.
Yes, sir.
Patty Thomas, Harrisville Township. I'm quite concerned. I'm a retired nurse, and I was on a number of different public boards, both in Ohio and here in Michigan. I'm concerned about the, I thought, precipitous decision to remove all of the indoor cameras, particularly when you are dealing with the senior citizen population who tend to have more mobility issues. Exercise equipment and the various things that people might be involved in some kind of an accident. I think that as a risk factor for this kind of population, having indoor cameras would be a very wise, and I can't imagine that your attorney would have approved of removing all of those cameras. I can think of just any number of opportunities for this board and the facility here needing to be able to justify their assertion that people's accidents were their own fault. And I think that's something that you possibly need to revisit. I'm sorry that a lot of effort was gone into in removing the equipment, but in many, many households in today's world, there are cameras everywhere. In most building facilities, you will find that there are indoor cameras, and it is all about the risk factors that you're taking. This population is going to be a significant risk factor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Gary?
Gary Mitchell Township. First of all, I want to thank those that stepped up and took action to get to what was going on this board in the first place. And actually admonish those that had not handled this problem prior to. It took a lot to bring it, and I think this board is going in the proper direction. I think this board needs to rethink some of these things like the food bank and everything else. You saw where it got when we started branching out, trying to be a community action group rather than just concentrating on the seniors. I think you need to pay attention to that aspect and that aspect alone. Coming to the senior housing thing, I understand the need. I don't understand why this board would be necessary for it. And having those properties on a place where you want to plan to have weddings, I think the noise level might be an issue come after 8, 9 o'clock. So you might want to really think that option over.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, yes, ma'am.
Hello, Margie Katsera from Haynes Township. First of all, I'd like to thank you for all your efforts to this point. It's a necessity that we have good organization and good governing bodies taking care of those things. I did have a couple questions. One on the nighttime meals, is that a cost that's worked into the budget? Has it been in the budget? These are budgetary questions. The other one is with regard to the proposal for the internal audit. There was never a cost noted when you made a roll call vote. So I think that's important that we know what that cost is. And if the budget as a public entity is available, where is that available so that we could look at that? The only other thing that I questioned is the secretary said there were no, I didn't notice that there were any letters or communications from anybody. Usually that's something that you would let us know about. And an agenda and a copy, a paper copy of the minutes would be really nice for those of us that don't have very good internet. So I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our evening meals, if you are 60 and over, it's a suggested donation of $3. If you can afford 5, that's great. But if you can afford 1, that's all right too. And it's a privacy thing. Nobody knows what you put in that container. So that, but if you're under 60, then we do have to charge and we do give a receipt.
Anything else? Over here. Oh.
I just wanted to comment, I feel personally so relieved in the direction that this is going now. And I also wanted to mention, don't underestimate the power of an outdoor wood stove to heat some of those outbuildings. That would be pretty far cheaper heat.
I used to be a wood stove dealer, so I agree with you. Okay, any other comments? Okay. If it not this time, let's see, we'll close the comments.
Any announcements?
Announcements. Okay. Anybody here have any announcements?
Obviously, the meetings are the 4th Tuesday of every month at 10 a.m. So that was incorrectly put down in certain locations. So patience with getting access to all of the social media accounts. They were set up in a way that we are having to go jump through hoops to try to get those back into ACCOA's control. So hopefully by next month, much of that will be done.
I had one thing about, if school's closed, was we gonna still have our meetings? Or are we gonna just delay them for road conditions? Not automatically, just because school's closed, are we not gonna have our meetings? How do you guys think?
I personally feel we need to revisit that. I just feel like that would be best for the whole board when we have a 9-member board to do that. But
Okay.
Me personally, I'd like to put that on the agenda for the next meeting.
Yeah, because I would like to see something like, so many times, you get the schools are closed, so we're closed. And, in a couple hours, I mean, the sun's out, the roads are clear and everything. Personally, my personal feeling is I have a bit of a problem closing just because the schools have closed down. I definitely would like to revisit that, and have some talk about that. I'm sure we can do robocalls or whatever. And then there's times where, the school's closed, but, you're going to have an all-day blizzard. So obviously, we're not going to be open on those days. But, no, I agree. That's something that we need to.
I think, like on, our phone number should be available, if somebody wants to call, to the public. I also believe, we need to contact the radio and let the radio say, yes, the senior center, board members will be meeting on, whatever day, and it'll be delayed till 11 o'clock or 10, 12 o'clock, whatever. Put it out on the radio so the public has knowledge of what's going on instead of just coming up here and saying, oh man, wish somebody would have told me, and then leaving. As a board, we need to be more open to the public.
Yeah, definitely something we can look into. And I would just like to make a comment that it's pretty obvious that all of us here, we're under reconstruction. Things are changing. If you guys have comments and suggestions, I really encourage you, we like to see them in writing if you would. That would help us, because sometimes when things are just spoken, it's here, then it's gone, one of those senior moments. So, if you could, suggestions, in writing, we would appreciate that, because obviously we don't know it all, we don't have all the answers, but we're trying, doing the best that we can, and we appreciate your comments, we appreciate your support, and we're just hoping to have the best senior center possible. And
Hold it.
I just wanted to ask if you have contact information for our local radio station, WTF? Next.
I don't
It would be.
Would Robin know?
That would be a local radio station that you could get your information out onto.
Channel's that? What radio station?
979 FM. Full power
979
FM station.
Okay.
See, that's
They're
great.
located on 72 on Main Street at the corner.
Okay. See, that's information we didn't have. There's going to be oversights that we make. There's going to be oversights that we make, but we also want to have the public help us. We're helping you, you help us. And there again, if you work together, I think we can succeed. If we work separate and keep butting heads, we'll never succeed. So.
Very true.
Could we put it on WBKB, Alpena?
I would think all the radio stations, but free announcements, I believe. I don't think they charge.
No.
Correct.
Okay.
I would make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Adjourned.
Can I say something
Thank you
really
for
quick?
coming.
Thank you for having a meeting that